Imagine a tremor, not in the ground, but in the unseen architecture of your mind. A subtle shift in the air, a whisper that isn't quite audible, yet it sends a ripple of unease through your very core. You can't pinpoint its origin, but suddenly the familiar comfort of your world feels thinner, more fragile, as if a hidden layer, a parallel reality, has just brushed against your own, revealing the tendrils of something ancient and hungry lurking just beneath the surface. This is not a nightmare you wake from. It is the silent, pervasive reality of how your mind is conditioned by threats you cannot see in an environment you barely acknowledge. This is the upside down of your own psyche, where fear isn't born, but carefully, meticulously constructed. For centuries, we have grappled with the nature of fear. Is it an instinct, a primal roar warning us of immediate danger? Or is it something more insidious, a learned response woven into the fabric of our subconscious by forces we rarely perceive? The truth, as always, lies in the shadows, in the interplay between what is inherently threatening and what our minds have been trained to associate with threat. This is the realm of conditional fear, a psychological phenomenon so fundamental, so pervasive, that it shapes not only our reactions to danger, but the very trajectory of our lives, often without our conscious consent. Consider the metaphor of the upside down, a dark reflection of our world, populated by creatures that thrive on fear and despair. In our psychological landscape, this upside down is not a physical place, but an internal dimension where seemingly neutral elements of our environment are twisted, imbued with a sinister power. These are what psychologists call conditional stimuli. The sounds, the sights, the smells, the sensations that on their own possess no inherent danger. A specific melody, the scent of a particular perfume, the rustle of leaves outside a window, the gentle hum of an old refrigerator, even the presence of a certain type of person or a particular social setting. Alone, these are just data points, sensory inputs, but in the upside down of our conditioned mind, they can become portals. These portals open when a conditional stimulus, once neutral, becomes inextricably linked with an aversive event. This is the unconditional stimulus, the true threat, the source of genuine pain, discomfort, or terror. Think of it as the Vecna-like force in our own mental upside down. It's not necessarily a monster with a physical form, but it is unequivocally an event that triggers an innate, unlearned fear response. A sudden, violent confrontation, a moment of profound public humiliation, a catastrophic failure that shatters self-worth, the overwhelming grief of loss, a sustained period of neglect or abuse. These are the true aversive events, the raw, unfiltered experiences that imprint themselves upon our psyche, leaving scars that run far deeper than any surface wound. The magic, or rather the terror of conditional fear, lies in the association. When that neutral conditional stimulus repeatedly occurs in close proximity to the aversive unconditional stimulus, our brain, a master pattern recognizer, forms a powerful, often subconscious connection. It's a survival mechanism, a rapid-fire learning process designed to protect us. If a specific sound, CS, consistently precedes a painful shock, US, our brain quickly learns to anticipate the shock merely upon hearing the sound. The fear response, once reserved only for the shock itself, now becomes a conditional response, CR, triggered by the sound alone. The sound has been conditioned to evoke fear, even in the absence of the actual threat. And this isn't just about simple sounds and shocks. This mechanism operates on a far more complex, insidious level in our daily lives. Imagine a child consistently belittled and ridiculed by a parent whose voice, when angry, takes on a particular cadence, a specific inflection, CS.
The unconditional stimulus here is the emotional pain, the feeling of worthlessness, the terror of parental disapproval, US. Over time, that specific vocal cadence, even when not accompanied by outright anger, might trigger an immediate, almost imperceptible tightening in the child's chest, a surge of anxiety, a reflexive desire to shrink away, CR. Years later, as an adult, a colleague's perfectly innocent but similarly inflected tone of voice might evoke that same visceral, unexplainable discomfort, leading to avoidance or defensiveness without the individual ever consciously understanding why. These are the unseen forces at play, the tendrils reaching out from our personal upside down. They are the echoes of past traumas, the residues of unresolved conflicts, the subtle imprints left by experiences we've long since buried or rationalized away. They operate in the background, shaping our perceptions, dictating our choices, and erecting invisible barriers to our growth. The silent threats are not always external dangers. More often, they are the ghosts of our past, projecting their shadows onto our present. Consider the power of environmental conditioning. Perhaps a particular scent, a specific cleaning product, the lingering aroma of stale cigarettes, or the faint metallic tang in the air was present during a deeply distressing period of your life. Maybe it was the scent of a hospital room during a loved one's prolonged illness, or the smell of a childhood home where conflict was rampant. That scent, once benign, now becomes a conditional stimulus. Years later, catching a whiff of that same aroma in an entirely new, safe environment can instantly transport you back to that feeling of dread, helplessness, or anxiety. Your body tenses, your heart rate subtly accelerates, and a wave of inexplicable melancholy washes over you. This is not a conscious memory. It is a primal, conditioned fear response, a direct link forged in the upside down of your mind, bypassing rational thought entirely. This elaborate dance of conditioned fear is precisely what leads to avoidance learning. Once a conditional stimulus triggers that uncomfortable conditional response, our natural inclination is to escape it, to prevent it from recurring. If the sound of a certain type of music, CS, triggers an intense feeling of anxiety, CR, because it was playing during a period of profound loneliness and rejection, US, you will instinctively begin to avoid that music. You'll change the station, skip the song, or even leave a social gathering where it's being played. This immediate avoidance provides a momentary relief, a brief respite from the discomfort. And here lies the trap. This relief, however fleeting, acts as a powerful reinforcer. Your brain learns avoiding CS equals feeling better. This positive reinforcement strengthens the avoidance behavior, making it more likely to occur the next time. It's a classic dopamine relief loop. The dopamine hit isn't from achieving something positive, but from successfully escaping something negative. This loop is incredibly potent because it leverages our innate desire for comfort and safety. Each successful avoidance reinforces the fear and solidifies the neural pathways that link the conditional stimulus to danger. Over time, this avoidance learning can dramatically shrink our world. What began as avoiding a specific song might expand to avoiding all music of that genre, then avoiding places where that music might be played, then avoiding people who listen to that music. The tendrils of the upside down spread, claiming more and more territory, narrowing the scope of our experiences. We become prisoners of our own conditioned fears, living in a self-imposed comfort zone that feels safe, but is in reality a meticulously constructed cage. This phenomenon contributes directly to what we might call comfort addiction. We become addicted to the absence of discomfort, to the predictable safety of our routines, to the familiar paths that steer us clear of our conditional stimuli. The idea of venturing into the unknown, of confronting situations that might trigger those subtle, unsettling fear responses, becomes increasingly daunting. Our comfort zone, initially a refuge, transforms into a fortress, protecting us not from genuine external threats, but from the echoes of past ones, from the silent threats of our own conditioned mind. This isn't about laziness or a lack of courage in the conventional sense. It's about a deep, often unconscious neurological wiring that prioritizes perceived safety over potential growth. The brain is remarkably efficient. It will conserve energy by sticking to known patterns, especially those that historically led to relief from discomfort. The path of least resistance becomes the path of least fear, and in doing so, it subtly dictates our identity. Our very identity, who we believe ourselves to be, is in large part a construct of repetition. The choices we make,
The actions we take, the thoughts we entertain, when repeated consistently, solidify into habits, then into character traits, and finally into our self-concept. If a significant portion of our repetitive behavior is driven by avoidance learning and comfort addiction, then our identity becomes intricately interwoven with our conditioned fears. We might see ourselves as not a risk taker, not good with crowds, uncomfortable in social situations, or someone who prefers solitude, when in reality, these might be labels we've adopted to rationalize and accommodate our conditioned responses. The invisible control exerted by these unseen forces is profound. It dictates career paths we shy away from, relationships we avoid, opportunities we let slip through our fingers. A promising job opportunity that requires public speaking, CS, might trigger intense anxiety, CR, due to a childhood experience of being mocked for speaking up, US. Instead of pursuing it, we might rationalize that it wasn't the right fit, maintaining our comfort addiction and reinforcing the avoidance. This isn't a conscious decision to give up. It's a silent surrender to the deep-seated programming of the upside down. Understanding this conditioning is the first step towards reclaiming control. It's about pulling back the veil, exposing the tendrils of the upside down for what they are, not insurmountable monsters, but learned associations that can be unlearned. This is where discipline enters the picture, not as a punitive measure, but a sophisticated process of neurological rewiring. Discipline in this context is the deliberate, systematic effort to create new associations, to forge new neural pathways that challenge and eventually override the old ones. It's about consciously exposing yourself to the conditional stimuli, but this time in a safe, controlled environment without the accompanying aversive event. This is the essence of extinction learning in psychology, breaking the link between the CS and the US, thereby diminishing the CR. Consider the person who fears public speaking. Their conditioned stimulus might be the sight of a microphone, the sound of their own voice amplified, or the gaze of an audience. The unconditional stimulus was likely a past traumatic public experience. The conditional response is the intense anxiety, the racing heart, the freezing up. Discipline here means not simply getting over it, but strategically and repeatedly engaging with the CS without the US. This could involve speaking into a microphone alone in a room, then recording oneself, then speaking to one trusted friend, then a small group, gradually increasing exposure while ensuring safety and positive reinforcement. Each successful, non-aversive encounter with the CS weakens the old association. This rewiring process is not about immediate eradication of fear. It's about gradual, persistent desensitization. Each time you face a conditional stimulus and realize that the anticipated aversive event does not occur, you are sending a powerful message to your brain. This is not dangerous anymore. You are actively creating new memories, new experiences that overwrite the old fear-laden ones. You are essentially bringing light into the dark corners of your upside down, diminishing its power. This requires immense self-awareness. It demands an honest appraisal of your own reactions. When you feel that inexplicable wave of anxiety, that urge to avoid,
You must pause and ask, what is the true source of this feeling? Is it an immediate, present threat, or is it an echo from my past? Is this the upside down reaching out? This introspection is crucial for identifying the specific conditional stimuli that hold power over you. It's about understanding the specific Vecna-like forces that are trying to control your choices. The journey of neurological rewiring is also one of self-compassion. It's important to acknowledge that these conditioned fears were often formed as a protective mechanism. Your brain was trying to keep you safe. Blaming yourself for having these fears is counterproductive. Instead, view it as a sophisticated system that simply learned the wrong lesson and now requires careful, patient re-education. This isn't about being fearless, it's about being courageous in the face of learned fear. It's about choosing to act in alignment with your values and aspirations, even when the conditioned response is screaming for avoidance. It's about understanding that the path to growth often lies just beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone, in the very territory that your conditioned mind has labeled as dangerous. The parallel realities within us are numerous. There's the reality of our conscious desires and goals, and then there's the subconscious reality shaped by our conditioning, by the unseen forces from our past. True freedom comes from aligning these realities, from dismantling the invisible control that dictates our responses. It's about recognizing that while we cannot always control the initial aversive events that shape us, we absolutely can control how we respond to their echoes. This understanding transforms our perception of challenges. A difficult conversation, a new project, a social gathering. These are not just events, they are opportunities. Opportunities to identify our conditional stimuli, to observe our conditional responses, and to practice the discipline of neurological rewiring. Each small step, each conscious choice to lean into discomfort rather than away from it, is a victory. It's a tendril of the upside down being severed, a piece of your inner landscape being reclaimed. The path out of the upside down of conditioned fear is not a sudden leap, but a deliberate step-by-step ascent. It involves a commitment to self-observation, a willingness to experience discomfort, and a deep understanding of how your mind has been shaped. It means accepting that true safety isn't found in avoidance, but in the resilience gained by confronting and recontextualizing your fears. This is the deeper motivation, not the superficial hype, but the quiet, profound ambition to understand yourself, to master your own internal landscape, to become the architect of your responses rather than a passive recipient of your conditioning, to break free from the invisible control of past traumas and societal pressures, and to consciously forge an identity rooted in conscious choice, not reflexive avoidance. The upside down is real, within each of us. Its inhabitants are not literal monsters, but the lingering shadows of past pain, the cleverly disguised conditional stimuli that whisper tales of danger where none truly exist. But you are not powerless against these unseen threats. Your mind, which learned to fear, can also learn to overcome. It can be rewired, it can be reprogrammed, it can be disciplined. This is the enduring challenge, the quiet battle fought within the confines of your own skull. To confront the echoes, to understand the conditioning, to dismantle the comfort addiction, and to systematically, courageously reclaim your psychological sovereignty. For only by facing the unseen forces that have shaped you can you truly begin to shape yourself. The choice, as always, is yours. Will you remain a prisoner in the upside down of your conditioned fears, or will you embark on the journey of neurological rewiring and finally, truly come home?